Why does it do it? Why does it do it? Technology is such a hooker. Tanner, would you agree that technology is a hooker? Where do you stand? Is it a hooker or non-hooker? Like how do you where are you at with technology?
It's somewhere in the middle. I think I'm pretty over the years pretty understanding of it, but things change always ever so quickly, like a hooker's feelings. So, uh, or maybe their outlook on being said hooker. But it's a love hate relationship. I'm doing what I can to you know be as knowledgeable as I can. So, and I work with the computer literally every single day, so it's stuff
Hmm.
I need to know anyway. So,
Yeah,
but
I mean, I don't know what it is about fucking streaming, but it's like every time I come back to it, it's like something different. Something has changed by itself. It just decided that this is what it's doing. Are you a Mac guy? Are you PC guy? Where are you at?
I was a PC guy that converted to Mac in 2020.
Oh, so the pandemic changed everything.
It changed a lot of things, but
It did.
no, I just realized like I just have a MacBook yeah, MacBook Pro, and I just it's just so user friendly. And I mean the majority of my job is like emailing, file sharing, stuff of that nature, but just I just think the interface for even just as tasks as simple as that just are a lot easier. And especially I love it how I can airdrop something from my phone right onto my desktop and then just have that, because I feel like I'd always had to, because I've always had iPhones, so
Mm,
I feel like I've always had to either email it to myself to then get onto a computer to download, or like upload it to Drive to then do that. But I just love the compatibility of all Apple products, and there's
yeah.
probably a lot more to this that I'm still figuring out. But like it's been getting me through the past 2 years, and I really enjoy it.
Yeah, I feel you, man. That airdrop, I agree with you. That airdrop is like fucking so crucial. You know that they are there's word, I'm not going to say this is fact, but there's word that they're removing airdrop from the platform because of uh because I don't know if you heard, but like out over in China there was some what do you call it, protest,
Hmm.
and they did sort of a media blackout, and Apple went and they took away the airdrop because that was the only way that the protesters could communicate and like go and send messages in mass, and have
Hmm.
people go out and protest and shit. But now they're going to, yeah, I think you're right, Naders. I think that they're yeah, I heard that they're going to be updating for next year, and the update is going to allow us to use AirDrop for the first 10 minutes after the update, and then after the update, it's going to be gone. And that is so wild to me.
We
Uh,
can't have nice things anymore.
no, and what's weird is that Apple Foxconn, this is a lot of this protest is going on where they're making the Apple products. And they're like, we need to get these fucking protesters back in that slave fucking camp, and so we can get that iPhone 14 Max Pro out for Christmas. So I think it is I think it's sort of like it's business, and I think that's the price of doing business with the CCP. And now, what's weird about it is that why would they bring that over here? And what do they know that we don't, right? Like,
Hmm.
because AirDrop is a fantastic way of sort of, like you were saying, we can transfer our files back and forth. I do it all the time too. Like, I'm sending, all kinds of shit back and forth to my computer and to my phone. It makes it so convenient. And also, I like to airdrop bomb people with like silly memes and stuff in public places. So that's really fun as well. And
Right there with you. I used to do that in Carlson Library when I was at UT, just to like mess with my fellow Rockets. So,
your
um,
fellow Rockets, hey, get them. Yeah.
right, for sure.
Go
No, I mean
Rockets.
it's absolutely. I mean, hey, 2022 MAC champions, Toledo Rockets. I was at the game,
Hell yeah, let's
but
go.
I think a lot of that conversation with your mention of airdrop being taken away because of what's going over in China. I mean, we live in such a technologically advanced society where it's pretty much like the bottom line of like just how we just do everything nowadays. But of course, a big deal now is just like identity and information hacking.
Mhm.
And so that's probably part of the conversation. Like, what's a more secure way of going about it? Because like you say, you can literally just, as long as like you're in public and someone has their iPhone open,
Right.
you can just airdrop them whatever.
Yeah.
So, which take that for what you will. So I don't know. Like I said, it's just a lot of just
I know.
hacking's an issue, and
Mhm.
um, hopefully they just come up with a better way so you don't have to
Right.
completely get rid of the feature. If anything, be able to keep AirDrop for your own personal Apple devices versus being able to go from like say my phone to your phone. So
Mhm.
I don't know. We'll see, but I'll have to. That's good to know. I had no idea about any of that. So
Well, it's just suspected. I'm not sure if that's what's gonna happen. It's something I saw on TikTok, so take that with a grain of salt.
it's
But
always TikTok. I enjoy that little rant you had. It's a cool platform, but it's also a weird one at the same time. I mean, like I can get into it, down the road in the show, but like with Lil Star PR, the PR firm I work for,
Mhm.
we're starting to use that a little bit more, just really just to discover new artists that are out there. Because that's what a lot of these like labels and management groups are doing now. But
Yeah.
we're just looking for cool people to work with, and fortunately, we're not like the weird cold calling kind of company where we kind of force you to work with us. We just offer services. If you don't want to work with us, it's okay. But I found it a cool platform just to find new music, whether personally or professionally. And I've
Mhm.
been able to connect with some really cool people there. But the algorithm I think is terrible, and it's just trying. I'm still trying to figure it out. Maybe I don't know, because I'm in that weird generation. I'm 27.
Yeah.
I was born in 95. I'm in that generation where I existed pre technology, pre
Yeah.
social media, respectfully. And then coming up through like the early mid to late 2000s, like we're getting our first phones, but we're talking like flip phones, LG, like the LG Chocolate or the Cosmos, all those kind of ones. And then getting our first iPhones into the early 2010s. So like we grew up having to adapt to all this stuff. Whereas you got Gen Z, which kind of takes over TikTok right now. Like they were kind of born into it. So not that I don't have a problem figuring it out. It's just like, well, that is a problem. But yeah, just trying to. And then of course what they're saying about TikTok hacking information. It's from China, so
Mhm.
China's trying to get all of America's information. So it's a lot. But I enjoy funny videos, and I'm not really into like when people just do TikTok dances. It is what it is.
Yeah, it's
But
boring. It's stupid.
um,
Unless they're
it's
hot.
cool. Yeah, that's the exception, but it's I see a lot of amazing musicians on there regardless. So
Yeah.
I'm taking it in stride. So
Mhm.
I post on there here and there. It's been a little bit, but it's hard to keep up with like the side of content creation while also trying to create your own music, and then being so worried about views and likes and shares and this and that. So it's a funny time to be a creative right now.
Yeah, I feel like sometimes that takes away from the fun of all of it is this looming worry that oh my video only got like 10 fucking likes and no one loves me and
Mm-hmm.
that you quantify your worth with this like stupid app that or the like this soul sucking app. But I
Exactly.
did like that you brought up the other side of that argument because I tend to like go over to the dark side of things with the whole airdrop. There is safety issues, and Bonbon and even in chat was saying that a lot of dick pics get sent randomly,
Mm-hmm.
and that's a real problem. So
I agree.
there is a reason for it, but I think it would be nice if they just sort of made it so you can you know you can sort of at least link with your stuff or link with somebody you want to be linked with. Otherwise, you're
Exactly.
just receiving. And poor lady is like, if you're on a metro bus or something, and some weirdo is just over there like, I'm gonna do this and send my fucking big
Mm-hmm.
veiny dick over to him, and
Yeah.
no, nobody deserves that. Nobody deserves to
Not at
see a
all.
big veiny dick first thing in the morning on the train, just trying to get to a job that you hate. It's just like fuck, man.
Yeah.
At least it's
It's
big.
just it's one less thing we don't need. No one needs that. And like
Yeah,
I have friends who have dealt with that. And it's just violating. It's gross too.
yeah,
And like
yeah. I agree.
also I'll also just side note, dicks are totally ugly. So like uh I don't know. It's just what it's I've not that I've ever sent or received any, but I don't know what's appealing about it. I don't get it.
I don't like
Like
it either. You know, like the thing, and the funny thing about dudes is like if someone sends their vagina, it's like yeah,
right.
you know, depending on the dude. Obviously, not all dudes are just like yeah, pussy. Yeah, but I mean, most dudes are. Most hetero dudes are like yeah, pussy. Which I am. I'm a big advocate for vagina, like vagina and boobies and butts. Like, yes, thank you, please, thank you, ladies. I appreciate you. I like dicks. It's in the right lighting. Thank you. Well, Morby, I can't help you with that, but I hope that your DMs are filled with big, beautiful dicks that were taken with perfect lighting. And welcome in, my friend. Good to see you. Uh, but yeah, man, this whole technology thing with like TikTok and it's very consuming and it
Hmm.
like you were saying it was like there's a balance you got to find between content creation and actually making your art and yeah like
Exactly.
content creation can be art too which I definitely see it as an art you know like I found a cool little niche on TikTok. It's working, people are following, community is forming there, so it is fun once you start like seeing interacting, and it's really fun to see like to get it's like a barometer, right? Like to see how the
Hmm.
culture is reacting to certain aspects of music and stuff. But it is like I put so much focus into the TikToks because I'm finding success there that
Hmm.
I'm like other parts of the podcast, like making podcast videos where like clips of the videos where you know me and you were talking and putting that out, and so that sort of fell by the wayside, and it's just man, how do you have time? And plus I want to make a new song, and plus you know me and my wife write, and I have to like write these two new songs that fucking we've already been paid for, so like bleh. So I'm so focused on this TikTok that it's not even I'm not getting anything done, and I will waste an entire fucking evening just scrolling through it. And
Hmm.
that what am I getting out of that? I mean,
Yeah.
it's a weird situation to be in as a creative, to be consumed by you know entertainment rather than consumed by producing content, and it fucks me up. How do you find a balance with that?
Um. I guess lately TikTok's just been mostly just for personal
Right,
entertainment. Just when,
but you're on Instagram and Facebook and stuff
yeah,
too. So like you're creating content for you know different platforms. I assume. I think you guys are right.
yeah, it's a lot of it is really just promoting like what what shows we have coming up.
Mm-hmm.
And what's nice in 2023, we'll be promoting a lot of new music we've had recorded
Mm-hmm.
between all these projects, which I can get into. But so lately it's just been a lot of like show promotion, or occasionally I'll just post a picture of myself just noodling on the guitar. Like a lot of times I just kind of improvise off the top of my head. Just a fun little, like I have an idea of what I want to do, but then I just execute it and just it happens how it happens. And truthfully, I feel like I kind of, whenever I make a singular piece of content, I try and make that singular piece of content be able to work for any platform.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I usually keep the videos, with under a minute, which is good for TikTok and Instagram, but it's also nice for Facebook because with Facebook you just get a little bit of everything, as well as I guess all the other ones too. But I just a nice little taste, like not not too much, but not too little. So that's just how I look at it. But it's but also with the internet, I feel like, and this is really not towards anyone directly. It's just I think some people don't represent their true selves when making content sometimes, and not not that I'm a vanilla guy. It's more just I am who I am. Of course, I'm growing and I want to get better at what I do continuously. But anytime I post anything, it's me. It's, my thoughts. It's my artistic execution, if you
Hmm.
will. Um, yeah, so I guess if that answers your question, that's how I look at my content creating at the moment. Really,
Yeah.
just like showcasing, like, hey, I play music. I'm in a band. Here's me playing guitar, and but as much as it's like promoting, because like I wouldn't call myself a solo artist, even though I put out a solo EP because it was collaborative. It's really like as much as I'm promoting myself, I'm promoting the other people I'm associated with. So I always keep that in mind too.
Yeah, I think that's important. Part of it, right, is like incorporating what you do with whatever art you're doing, and that's the weird part where I'm at is like like music news is a part of this podcast and it is a part
Hmm.
of the stream and stuff, but it's not the whole thing, like we're also doing I talk to musicians as well. So it's like right now I'm trying to find this weird balance on TikTok because TikTok is honestly it's driving the most people to my website. It's getting the most people, interested in the show and stuff. So
Hmm.
it's really it's a cool platform, but it's just it's so touchy, and there's it's just the censorship is unreal on it, and the things you have to do it's created like a whole new language, you know what I mean, like unalived,
Hmm.
like that's not a real word, unalived, but like if you go on,
I've been seeing that lately. Yeah.
yeah, unalived, or they'll say like a schmate crime instead of hate crime, or grape for rape. It's like this weird little language that people are sort of tiptoeing around this line that censorship has or that TikTok has sort of laid down. Uh,
Yeah.
it's so like I don't know, man. It's unfortunate, but it's such a interesting app. When you look at the metrics, it's that like TikTok has surpassed YouTube in video viewing hours. And TikTok hasn't been around all that long, right? And you got to think about YouTube as a whole. Like that was back in 2009, right? Like that whole span of time. So in less than the time that YouTube's been around, TikTok has sort of, surpassed that. So it is a platform that is useful for people, and it's a useful for promotions and stuff, but it's just to have to like change language and
Yeah.
change who you are in a sense, because I cuss a lot. Like my whole like podcast, I'm cussing. We talk about crazy things, we talk about serious things, we talk about silly things, and transferring that over to TikTok has been a real challenge for me. And again, I'm about to get banned. I'll probably be banned by the time we're done with this fucking podcast, but whatever. Yes, hashtag butt sluts. But I don't know, man. How do you feel about like that idea of censorship in that sense, where people are changing the language and people are, sort of bending to this platform?
Yeah. I mean, just from my observation, I think it's kind of rooted in the cancel and woke culture that we
Hmm.
kind of lived in for the better part of the past decade. Um, so I think a lot of it's just rooted in a lot of people just trying to be careful because, you know, we've seen time and time again where kind of, someone of some kind of famous stature
Like Kanye
is can't.
West.
Yeah, that's why what's been going on with him. No, I'm
Oh,
kidding.
nothing, nothing. He's just doing his thing.
Just when's that next album coming out? But uh
We're super
man, that
stoked for it. I mean, I'll
God,
listen
that
to
just
it. I'll listen to it.
that's been so weird to unfold and
I
everything.
know.
But yeah, I think
Yeah, go ahead.
you're good. I just think a lot of people are just trying to be careful now, and
Mm.
I think a lot of these people just they don't mean well, or sorry, excuse me, they don't mean harm or anything. They just want to shoot themselves in their foot or leave an entry open for someone to be like, that's not quite right. And yeah, it's like we can't be funny anymore, which is a conversation that comes up a lot, especially in the comedy world. Um, I don't see it as much as in music. I would see it in music if it was someone's someone's individual actions versus their actual music, I suppose.
Mm.
Um, Kanye kind of being an
Right.
example, like his, but yeah, I think there's kind of like, and I'm trying to be sensitive to anyone, and I'm trying to be empathetic as much as possible, but there's this like weird sensitivity where, kind of like what I just mentioned, we just everyone's trying to be careful, everyone's not trying to push any boundaries, and God forbid they say the wrong thing, and um, I think we'll get to a point where that kind of chills out for a bit. I will say it's nice, being able to appropriate certain things, and uh, ultimately, I think it's just to be respectful to everyone of all walks of life.
Yeah.
I'm all for it. Like, I as long as like you're a good person and contribute to society, like do whatever you want. Like that's how I feel,
Mm.
and I don't care how you identify, how you look, what you say, as long as you're just respectful to people and doing something good for the world, then I'm all for it. But yeah, it's a weird time, man. But I think things will chill out a little bit. We'll
Mm.
see. We'll give it a couple years. It's been a very hypersensitive couple of years in particular. I probably don't have to say why, but yeah, and TikTok was kind of in the midst of all that because
Right.
obviously 2020 transpired how it did, and that's how a lot of people I think were either entertaining themselves or trying to make some kind of internet communities to keep themselves busy and to keep their minds off of all of the insanity that the world kind of went through, and I guess we're still feeling a little bit, but um 2020 was again just kind of the app for that, and then in 2021, Tik that's when I kind of noticed TikTok was starting to use a little bit more as a music platform
Mm.
for people. So and then that's kind of carried over into 2022. And it's crazy how a lot of artists have been either signed or just like have been recognized a lot more just because they're consistently posting on the app. And I think if anything, that's probably the key to the algorithm. Is probably just post as much as you can, um, kind of getting like right to the point of things. Because again, you're only giving up so much time, and if the viewer is not hooked immediately, then they'll just scroll on to someone twerking or uh, a, a Vine that was re-uploaded onto TikTok to make us millennials feel nostalgic for a little bit. So
Those are fun though. But and I get that, and I get that whole respectful thing. I don't know why. I guess sorry, Bonbon. I guess the alerts are off now. I don't know what the fuck's going on, guys. This is wild. But I think my big concern about it is, I like being polite. I like to tell, like if someone has a pronoun, I even ask that when I send out my email. Like I'm not
mm-hmm.
to come on the show. It's in there. Give me your preferred pronoun. I have no problem with it. And like you see older people who are getting frustrated with this. You see like some Gen Xers or even not even so much Gen X, but like the boomer generations and stuff. Like they get. I do a podcast with a guy who's a lot bit older. They're in their 50s. It's a whole group of them, and one of the dudes, the main dude, just like, I'm not calling anybody they or them or shem or whatever the fuck it is. Uh, and I don't, that's his right. Let them do what they want to do, but I don't subscribe to that. I don't mind acquiescing in that sense, but the problem I have is that there's, especially during the pandemic, there was a lot of censorship going on all platforms, really, in regards to like vaccine and health information. And I'm not trying to say anything about vaccines or anything, but like there was a lot of things being hidden, being covered up that now we're finding was actually true. And that's the part that's dangerous about it, right? It's like you're
Mm-hmm.
changing the language, you're changing what we can say, what we can't say. And we have these sort of public forums that, which aren't public at all, they're private, that are sort of censoring and holding back information that is essential and I think is really important for people to understand. But I get the idea too, in the sense of politeness, that these platforms are private companies and they do have their own rules, and that's fine, right? Like I don't mind that. I used to think that was lame as fuck, but I think that it's you know it, to a certain extent, like of course, let's not have people, dropping N words and blah blah, F slurs and having, like being cruel to people and bullying people. I can see the purpose of that now, but
Mm-hmm.
again, it went a little too far, and now we're like so polite that we can't even have conversations, and I feel like it's a sort of emboldening people's they're if they're thinking wrong thought or whatever, it sort of emboldens those shitty thoughts, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
like with Kanye and how he's getting censored. In a way, he's sort of taking advantage of what's happening because they did take his bank account away, they did take away all of his, taking away kids, taking away all this. I don't think they actually took away his kids, but in a way that sort of emboldens people's thoughts in regards to maybe the Jewish folks, right? It's like, oh, look, the bank did take him away, and the bank and they did take away his deals, and look at Kyrie Irving. Is that how you say?
Kyrie Irving,
Yeah,
yeah.
look at Kyrie Irving. He just lost Nike for tweeting out or sharing a link to a stupid documentary, which is still available, by the way, on Amazon. You could still go see that shitty documentary that's probably wrong minded, but it's still, it sort of emboldens people's thoughts when you sort of censor these ideas. And then when they see it sort of play out, like with this whole Kanye thing, which I don't think there's a Jewish cabal aimed at Kanye. But if you were to look at it from, zoomed out, and you're not as involved as I am in the whole situation, in the story, it does look like there is sort of this cabal that came together to destroy this man. Now he's destroying himself properly on Alex Jones, but from an outsider, if you're just looking in and you have like already weird thoughts about Jewish people, and maybe you don't know Jewish people, maybe you grew up in the South in the very Christian Christian community that maybe they don't like the Jews either. And that just sort of sits in your head, but you're thinking and you're on the fence. And then you see this sort of play out with Kanye and the fact that we can't even really talk about what's going on. And the fact that on one of the biggest platforms in the world, in TikTok, you'll get banned for talking about it. That emboldens people's ideas. And I feel like that's where things get kind of dicey. I don't know. What's your thoughts, man, on all that?
Where to begin? It's a good thing you mentioned about, or yeah, about, some people just probably did not grow up around Jewish people, or quite frankly anyone else other than maybe, I don't know. I just think of like small town America, predominantly white, probably of European descent, Christianity, that kind of background, and I think it's a I think a lot of people's ignorance is probably just based in, I mean, I'm sure what they were told by the older generations that they're around, but probably just never knew anyone. And fortunately, in my case, I grew up in the suburb of Sylvania in Toledo.
Mm.
And what's nice about Sylvania and graduating from Sylvania Southie High School was we had a very even mix of people of all kinds of backgrounds, which made for a very, diversified high school experience, and which I think just exposed me to a lot of, people of different cultures and like where they come from. And at the end of the day, man, we're the same. We're all the same. We're all just people just want to, support ourselves, support our loved ones, and just get the most out of life we can. And which is sounds very general, but that's what I feel like. And it's weird seeing, the Kanyes and the Kyries kind of doing what they've been doing, and um in a way it's nice to see them be held accountable, because at the
Mm.
end of the day, like, we don't need anti-Semites in this world, racists in general. We don't need that. um and that's probably kind of going back to our conversation a couple minutes ago about just being as respectful to people as possible. I think, as we've seen the past couple of years in particular, but I can't sit here and ignore decades and centuries of this going on, of, you know people just being discriminated literally just like with how they look and how they sound. And I'm glad to see that I'm trying to say my words carefully. recognizing things that have been elephants in the room for so long that at least there's attempts being made to undo these wrongs. You can't you can't undo the wrongs, but I guess moving forward, being better about it. And I don't know, man. It's just I I don't get down with racism. I don't get down with discriminating against religion.
You don't?
What's your thing? No, fun fact. So it's just I don't know, and it's so wild to me how in this day and age where we can share information just like that, if I can even get snap my fingers right, snap. Um, we can share information so quickly, and not just information, but like our thoughts and feelings. Like, oh, the Lions won. I'm really happy. Or, um, why won't anybody date me? Those are all the kind of things that we're seeing, and um, so when someone says something that ends up being kind of, you know, discriminate towards someone, then how can you not think about, oh, no one will see this or no one will think it's a big deal, and then it's got how many retweets and how many people reaching out being like, hey, this is wrong. So um yeah, I guess just treat people well and don't do don't do or say stupid shit like that.
Don't say I
um
love the Nazis.
it's
if
that's very high up there. And if you deny the Holocaust, you can go fuck yourself too, man. Like I don't that that's another thing when people deny things in history that actually happened. um with all this, and I'm not trying to get political in any way, but it's like when like there's actual like legitimate proof of stuff happening and people are out here saying, oh, it didn't happen. Like how ignorant can you be?
Yeah.
um so
And especially with the thing with Kanye, and we'll keep it to music, but it really does seem like he doesn't like the Jewish people. Like it really does. Like because at first he was sort of playing it off, and now he's saying he loves everybody. And in a sense, I get where Kanye is saying where he loves everybody, and he's trying to be in the image of God, and God loves everybody. Even Hitler was loved by God, in whatever strange warped way you want to look at it, but
mhm.
where's my Volkswagen? You better quit, Naders. Uh, and the thing is now I'm seeing a bunch of black dudes who are like a lot of black people and a lot of other people, especially when it comes to like even in the post that there's this anti-Semitism is sort of brewing up. And it is, and I'm not saying that black people are hating Jewish people or anything like that, but I'm seeing more, it's more public now that we're seeing it. And I think in a sense that that's a good thing. I think it's a good thing that we're seeing more of it so we could sort of be like, hey, we shouldn't do this. This is
Mhm.
to highlight the wrong in that thinking, right? And I know it's hard to think of, and it's hard to sort of put that, in a sentence, saying like, hey, anti-Semitism out in the open is good, but it's better that we know who they are, know how they operate, and try to, fix the wrong talk with right talk, right? And
Mhm.
then the other problem is like who is making the rules on what is right talk. I mean, honestly, I support Kanye West going on Alex Jones and publicly speaking. It really did change my opinion about him in a very drastic way. And that sucks because I really do respect and love Kanye as a producer, as a musician. He's fucking amazing. Like he's been there in the greatest and lowest moments of my life. So it's a blow. It's a blow to me, but I'm glad that Alex Jones did that and let him talk and let him sort of expose himself for what's going on. Now I don't know if he's crazy, if he's going crazy, or if I think it's a little bit of all of it. I think he doesn't like the Jews because a few Jewish people fucking fucked him over, and he's mental. He has mental issues. He has been, he's bipolar. That's public knowledge. He's bipolar.
Mhm.
So it's like, that's how I see it. Like I know it's terrible, and I know um, there's growing pain, or growing pain. There's pain involved in seeing that, and seeing people sort of glom onto this idea that Jewish people run the banks and run Hollywood and all this stuff, which to a certain extent that there is truth behind that. But it's not like it's not like all the Jews are coming after Kanye or all the Jews want, to get rid of all the Gentiles or anything like that. It's literally like a few assholes that fucked somebody over that are happen to be Jewish, and
Mm-hmm.
the idea that we're gonna sort of generalize and make this sweeping. It's just like all black people are fucking, yada yada yada. All the Mexicans took our jobs, and all the Asians took our spot at university, which is kind of true. But, because they're insanely smart. The fucking Asians have a great fucking sense of study, and they have discipline, and that we suck at. As Americans, we're so stuck in TikTok and worrying about this shit, but in any case, making sweeping generalizations about any group is fucked up. Denying that millions of people got murdered senselessly by the Nazis is fucked up. All that shit's fucked up. Like denouncing all that shit, I can't stand that shit. I
That
don't.
makes two of us.
To me, it's disgusting. In the fact that he's running around with this Nick Fuentes guy, who I've definitely heard him just drop n bombs and stuff. And again, I'm all about free speech. I'm all about it, and people can say whatever they want to say about Nick Fuentes, and he's a hero, and he's just exercising his rights. But I don't want to be around him. I don't want to support him. I I'm in an interracial marriage. Like, you think I want that to be fucking, what I'm into when I have a black son who I'm bringing up in this world? Fuck no. Fuck Nick Fuentes. And so it's like, I appreciate though that we have this right to for people to say that, but it's also, I'm glad I know who that person is, and I know who to avoid and who to, like, hopefully somebody can talk to him and be like, hey, this is kind of shitty thinking.
Yep, well said. Well said.
Kind of getting out of the getting out of the murk, because on this podcast, all roads lead back to Kanye, and I'm trying to break that habit. So, tell me about these new projects you're working on, man.
Yeah, so I guess I'll start with the Icee Cream Militia. It's been my main band since 2015. Um, there's currently 9 guys in the band because we have a whole horn section.
Dude, you guys,
Um,
I gotta say, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I gotta say
you're good.
that I love that you guys have that you guys have a big band, and it's cool that a big band is here in Toledo, because I mean, as you know, the music scene is great. I much appreciate it, but it's a very small little clique community. You know what I mean? So it's nice that you guys are out there, doing horn arrangements, and the thing that's cool about the Icee Cream Militia is that you guys do span against across a lot of genres, and you incorporate, I mean, reggae and rock and funk and hip hop and all that kind of stuff. So it's really cool addition to what's going on here. But I'm sorry to interrupt. I'm interested in what's going on. Oh yeah, and everybody, Tanner has a new EP out, which I'm sorry, I'm like burping and talking at the same time. Exclamation point TW. Make sure you go and link up with Tanner. Go to those links. If you're listening in audio, make sure you're in the show notes and go click on that link, and make sure you follow up Tanner and support your boy, because he has a new EP out, which is what is it called? I just had
It's
it.
called Reflecting on the Future.
There you go. And you have that nice little picture of you reflecting over next to a pond or something. It's very nice. But anyways, please go on. You got some new stuff going on.
Yeah, so like I said, Icee Cream Militia, and you kind of said best. We just love all kinds of music. And it's like any band. Every individual has their own certain taste, and we, you know, put that together to make ourselves our own musician. And then you collaborate with others, and then you're collaborating with them, but you're also collaborating with like all the influences that have been, embedded into them as a musician. Um, Terrible way of saying just everyone has their own influences. When you come together, you just whatever just happens. And we started off as just like a guitar based drums band like anyone else, but particularly in our case, we all met at the University of Toledo, and we were all in UT's marching band at one point or another. So that kind of explains why there's like trumpets and trombones and tuba, is because that was we were all band kids, but
Mm.
some of us happened to play drum set, guitar, bass, singing. So eventually the
Some of
band just
us, Tanner mostly.
Nah, man.
Yeah.
But
Wait, what were
we,
you playing in the marching band?
I was a trumpet player.
A trumpet player. Oh, look at
Hmm.
this! Look at this guy. He's just full of surprises today, folks. But please continue on your stuff.
No, of course. But we, like I said, we started off just guitar, bass, drums, vocals, and then probably around 2018, we just kind of realized what can we do as much as we want to do something different for ourselves as creatives. What can we give back to the music scene? Which is as much as a little clique it is. Like there's some amazing bands and musicians and um, venue staff that really keep the scene going alive. So I appreciate
Yeah.
everyone in that under that umbrella. But we just figured there aren't a lot of bands with a horn section or I guess auxiliary instruments, I suppose. So and there's been a couple. One I want to give a shout out to is Ego and the Maniacs. They're a band that's been around Toledo for a while. We've done a bunch of shows with them. They've always had whether it's a trombone or a tenor saxophone. They're always really cool people and want to give them love because we've had a lot of amazing shows with them and we hope to do some here in the future. I'm not sure what they've been up to, but other than them, there weren't a ton of bands doing what I guess we wanted to do. And then what was also really nice about the band too is we were all friends first,
Mm.
so that we didn't have to go like, "Hey, Facebook, we're looking for a tuba player. Is anyone down to join a band?" We just knew all the people from our collective friend groups, and it came together pretty well. And then we put out an EP in 2019 called Moose Tracks, which is available on all streaming platforms, which showcases the brass guys. So the first album did not have brass,
Mm.
the second one does, and I guess the update on ICM, we've like any band in 2020, we only did like one show, and
Mm.
then shut down. 2021, we did a handful of shows because things were kind of getting starting back up, and we are kind of figuring out how to do to be a band again because we didn't do anything in 2020. And then early 2021, we did a live stream at Bigfoot Studios with Travis
Mm.
Skyman,
Yeah.
and where
Travis
we're
is the
able
shit.
to love that dude. That's where we recorded all of our stuff too. Is
Yeah,
with
Reina did too. Right, that's I mean, and Travis is right down the road from us, so like it makes it
very
easy.
cool.
But but yeah, he has a great thing going on over there, and I know he's not really doing those live streams anymore. I mean that was so much work he put into that.
Mm-hmm.
Especially having I think Austin, right? Austin was the camera guy. I don't
Yep.
know, and
Yep. Austin.
yeah, Bigfoot. Yeah, and he's also here on Twitch, y'all. So you can we can get a shout out for Bigfoot. And Moving Dutchman, welcome in, my friend. Good to see you. Thank you for being here. Um, but yeah, man. So you guys are recording with Travis for this next album or next release?
Yep. So I guess to kind of get everyone up to 2022,
Oh, I'm
we played
sorry.
more.
Continue where you were left off. I'm sorry.
No, you're
I
you're
just
good, but it'll I promise it'll lead into it. But like I said, 2021, we were just kind of figuring out how to do it again. And then 2022, we were just like, we wanted to play out as much as possible, but we also wanted to play in different places.
mm-hmm.
The Iowa Tavern is more or less our home base. That's probably
Yeah.
um, the venue we've played at the most recently. We want to give Zach Jacobs and everyone there all the love in the
Dude,
world.
what a shit time to buy a club. But he's
Dude,
killing it. He's killing
just
it.
absolutely. And he's been booking some really cool shows there. And particularly, he just booked Escape the Fate, which was a band I was really into in junior high and high school. So
Mm.
I'm really looking forward to that. But we got to play by ICM. We got to play in a bunch of new places. Never played that. The Blind Pig up in Ann Arbor. We got the
Mm.
headline there. We played this new festival. It was just the first time it happened last year. Is the Ohio Music Roots Fest, which is in Sunbury, Ohio, which is about I'd say about 45 minutes east of Columbus, but we were headlining the first night there. Um, and then yeah, it was just we've been able to play a lot of different places. Even in Toledo, we've been playing at the Village Idiot every couple months or
Hell
so,
yeah.
which they've been treating us well. So shout out to Kevin and all the crew over there. We'll be actually that'll be our first show of 2022. Or wow, sorry, it's weird saying that 2023. Crazy. Our first show of 2023 will be Thursday, January 12th at the Village Idiot. Free admission, 9 to 12. 21 and up, and then come get some pizza and party with us. So,
And they
and
do have
then
good pizza.
great pizza. But then going, so other than that, we haven't announced these shows quite yet, but we'll be coming. We're again expanding our horizons a little bit, and we're gonna play January 7th at a place in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and then I believe it's called Mulligan's Pub, and then this one I'm really pumped. I mean, I'm pumped about that one, but in particular, this next one I'm really pumped about. We're playing at the Beachland Ballroom and Tavern in Cleveland.
Damn, I love that venue. That is such a
Uh,
badass venue.
I'm so pumped. I got to see a show there, and then of course, to me, it's famous because that was the venue where the Black Keys played their
Mm-hmm.
first ever show. Um, there's a whole story. There's a whole cool video
Oh,
about that on
wait,
Rolling Stone.
that's where they played their first show? I thought they
Ever.
played in like a record store or something. I don't know. I don't know
No,
shit.
the you're good. The video I saw was I think it was done by Rolling Stone. It was probably not long after they put out the El Camino album, but
Nice.
they, through all the, different ways of people coming and going, musical projects, Dan and Patrick hooked up, became the two of them, recorded basement demos that eventually became the first album, shipped it to every label they could, and then the label in Los Angeles that picked them up were like, you know, we'll sign you on, we'll do this and that. And then when they did that, they're like, oh, we should probably play a show. And they kind of saw that as like, well, we gotta play a show to be a band. So it was at the Beachland Ballroom. So we'll be there February 24th. And I know Mike, you'll put all the information in the show notes or whatever.
Yeah.
But if you just follow Icee Cream Militia at Icee Cream Militia on all of our socials, or on all these socials, we'll be sure to post that information as soon as it comes available
Yeah, and
to us.
you can get there from your link tree, right?
Yep, I put the Icee Cream Militia link tree in there. Link
Sick.
tree into another link tree.
That's how we do it, baby. Hell
That's
yeah.
how we do. So yeah, we're just looking to, we're in the booking stage right now. We kind of took December off to chill and enjoy the holidays and get ready for the new year. So lots more booking happening.
Are you guys trying to do like more expansive tours and stuff?
Touring would be interesting because there's 9 of us, but also just because of our day-to-day jobs and schooling and everything. So in the summer could be a possibility. We're kind of figuring that out as we go. At the very least, we just wanted to play new cities, new venues. We're actually looking into Hollywood Casino. We're having a conversation with them, so we're at this point just trying to lock down a date. So I would expect that sometime in March or April. And then when it comes to new music, we're looking to get into the studio January, February. Again, back at Bigfoot, we have a song we want to record that's ready to go. Then we have a bunch of other little ideas that we're kind of tinkering with right now, as you do in the writing process. But we have one song that we've been playing live for the past year that is ready to record. We just got to get it recorded. So So with ICM, expect us at new cities, new venues, and some new music. Probably spring or early summer. And also, we got some cool merch, and I'll show you, Mike.
Show me,
We
baby.
got, it's probably backwards for the viewers, but we got
No, it's it.
ICM lighters, and it's also a bottle opener right here.
Oh
So
shit! So if
yeah,
you guys want a 2-in-1, you know what to do. Can you get that link? So you linked it. Let me see. We can make it more direct here. Do you guys have like a website where you can get it, or do you get it through a different site?
the lighter.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't have an online e-commerce. We've just been selling them as shows,
Ah,
but we should set it up. However, if you're someone who really wants one, feel free to send us a message and we can figure it out. So
there you go.
be more than happy to figure that out. We should have an online store. That's another thing for 2023. We're definitely planning on some new merch. Like we have some t-shirt ideas in the work. It's just always a matter of like what's the most cost effective way of getting the best merch you can. As if anybody's been in a band, and I mean you made your own We Speak English Good merch. You know how that goes.
I
So we're
do.
figuring that out.
Yeah, it's weird. There's some cool places that like Threadless is okay, but it makes it easy, but you get very little off the top. I mean, you'll sell a t-shirt for like $25 and get like $3 from it. which sucks,
Hmm.
but it does make it easier for, if you make fans in California and you're not going to be able to like tour out there and bring your t-shirts and stuff. Maybe one day, I'm not saying you never, but like, when's the next time
Sure.
you're going to be in California to sell them in person? So it's cool like that. But, there's all kinds of cool online stores where you don't have to like you don't have to like have boxes of t-shirts and hats and stuff sitting around, and it's like per order, which I'm sure you're aware of all this shit. So
Yep.
it's fun out there, but yeah, merch is weird. Merch is weird, and it can be like super profitable if you play your cards right, but it's still it's toughy, man. It's a toughie. So you guys are going to be recording a new song. So how do you guys do with 9 people and your influences? How do you guys come together to write songs? Is there like a central songwriter and you bring it to the table and then everybody just sort of writes around it, or do you guys get together and like let's do this? How does it work? How do you guys write your material?
Yeah. So it's kind of like any band where um some bands have like everyone contributes.
Hmm.
Uh, maybe everyone has a new idea that they want to bring to the table, or some bands there's like a couple people who really kind of drive the creative force. And for us, it can go either way. It kind of depends on the song, depends on the overall idea, but really, again, not much different from anyone else. Someone just has a general idea, like, hey, this could be a good verse riff or intro riff, and then see where it goes. Or someone has like, essentially a full song idea, but maybe from intro through a first chorus and then just kind of going from there. So at least having a structure to work with. And a lot of times with us, we get the guitars, bass, and drums figured out first,
Hmm.
because like that's kind of like the base of our music. And then from there, once we're all kind of on the same page, that's when we bring in the brass guys, and then a lot of it is with writing brass parts. Sometimes it's like a keyboard part where um, it could be the main thing, or it could be what's complementary. So
Hmm.
depending on the song, kind of just figuring out what works,
Yeah.
and while also not stepping on each other's toes, having that balance. Because with 9 people, you got 9 different instruments. There's a lot going on, and
Yeah.
that's how even I view my guitar rig. Like I have a pedal board, but it has like your essentials on it. Like I don't really have any weird crazy stuff because there's already so much going on, and quite frankly, I'm not trying to tiptoe on my board so much. So just trying to keep it simple as possible on my end. But then, um, because we got all this sound, so why do any more or less? So,
Hmm.
um,
Well,
but
sometimes
yes,
I mean sometimes less is more, right?
exactly. So,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's some times where, um, I guess I'll use this as an example. We also do a lot of cover songs because we do shows where we have to play like 2, 3, 4 hours. So
Yeah.
that's always a nice time to throw in covers. So,
Hell yeah.
one of the songs we do is Kokomo by the Beach Boys, and what I personally do is, um, I play the tambourine. I just to kind of accompany what's going on. But then we don't have a saxophone player, but I do the saxophone solo on guitar,
Oh, nice.
and
Aruba,
so
Jamaica.
ooh, yeah, the bow
Haunted.
down da 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 da. But yeah, so I'll do the tambourine until the solo, play the solo, and then hop back on tambourine for the rest of the
Mm,
song. So sometimes a member drops out just to like that way there's not so much going on, but then
yeah.
also to maybe play something auxiliary, or maybe someone's just singing so they don't have to play guitar because you got someone else already covering it. So it's a lot of figuring out balance, and like it's a continuous thing. Like we're not perfect at it. We're continuously trying to find ways of balance while also not trying to limit ourselves. So, but yeah, in general, we're gonna have a lot of new shows in 2023 and some new cities, and then expect some new music from us. And I'm the one running our social media, so I'll be sure to post as much as I can. And
Yeah.
because like that's another thing too. We were talking about TikTok and everything, and I feel like a lot of the content we've been posting, quite frankly, is just like advertising for shows. Or we always post for someone's birth. a member's birthday and whatnot. So
Mm.
we're actually talking about maybe a band podcast, which I
Mm.
think some bands are doing, where um, we could talk about band stuff, or we can just it's just the band talking about whatever. I know there's a million podcasts out there in the world, but um, it's just another. We just kind of see it as another way of really connecting with fans, and um, I think for me personally, I love learning about bands as much as possible, and I love watching interviews with it, whether it's with an individual person or the whole band, because it just kind of brings more meaning to the music and the content they're creating. So
Yeah.
if we're able to do that on the flip side, then I think it might be pretty beneficial. So, but yeah, we're looking really forward to the new year. Just again, just kind of like shaking the rust off the past couple years, and we played. I don't think I mentioned this. We played more shows in 2022 within a calendar year than we ever have as a band,
Mm.
which we're very proud of. We already have like three or three or four shows booked for the new year, with more to come, and um, it's been a good time for the band the past year, and we're looking forward to see what happens next.
Yeah. Is it one of those things where you guys, everybody has to be involved in a show, or you can't do it, or do you guys go out with different lineups, or like, maybe the trombone player couldn't make it, so you have, how do you work
Yeah,
it?
yeah. Occasionally we've had shows where I'll go through our whole lineup real quick. We have three guitar players.
What?
So just right off the bat, three guitar players. Then
Hold
you
on,
have
hold on. I want to
go
get a
ahead.
picture of y'all up, so we can. We have somebody who comes in here who's like, you need more drummers. We need more drummers. He literally was trolling Phil Collins' son, Nick Collins.
Yeah,
Yeah, and there's Naders going. How many drummers? Naders wants to know.
just one.
Oh, what the fuck? All right. Anyway.
What? um, yeah. So we got three guitar players, bass, drums, and then the other two guitar players and the basses. They're the three vocalists in the group.
Mm.
Then we have one trumpet player, two trombones, and then tuba. So that's the full lineup. We've done shows where one of the trombonists couldn't be there, or where the tuba player couldn't be there. Um, so those are probably the times where like we haven't had the full band, but and with scheduling with nine people it's a hassle. But we found a couple of ways of making it work. Number one, when it comes to when we usually practice every week or maybe every other week, kind of depending on what we have coming up or going on. We always we always have this one day in time that where everyone agrees on. We don't mess with it unless otherwise. Very rarely do we like, hey, can we move the day? It's
Mm.
like we have the day, and then either the whole band comes, a majority of the band. Lately, since we haven't been doing shows, like we haven't had the full lineup for a little bit while, because it's that time of year and people are doing things. But at least like about half of us have been getting together lately, because again we're mostly working on new music. Um, which is kind of nice, because then you have a couple people working on it. You get those guys kind of on the same page, and then you bring in the other guys, because half the band's already on the same page. You just got to catch the other half up to speed,
Yeah.
and then putting it all together. Because sometimes doing it with all nine guys in once, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But kind of stepping stones, I suppose.
Well, yeah. I mean, I know I've been in big bands before, so like I know how quickly chaos can just erupt out of nowhere. So I get
Yeah,
that, man. I get it. It's not easy managing that many people, and the fact that you guys can do it is pretty impressive. And it helps that of course, you guys were college chums, so it
exactly.
definitely adds to it. I like big bands and I cannot lie. I like big bands and I cannot lie. How dare you, Naders? How fucking dare you? So it's not just the Icee Cream Militia that you're working on. You're working on other things, correct?
Yep. So the next group that I guess I'll highlight is a band called The Currents.
Mm-hmm.
The Currents is it's a newer group. It was started by my good buddy Luis Gomez. Funny enough, another like college friend. with that, the Currents is his platform for writing and releasing new music. The one EP we do have up online, which is just called The Currents, with the it's kind of like the black cover with the window in it.
What,
That was
do you guys got social media like
actually, if you go to my
Instagram?
link tree,
Oh,
if you
okay.
go to my link tree, I'll have the Currents link tree.
Oh yeah, I see. I see. I'm about to go follow these motherfuckers. Oh, I was at the right place. What is this? LGTWMC and EA. What is that?
Those are just all of our initials.
Oh, okay. All right. All
Yeah,
right.
there's only four people in this.
That seems a little bit more manageable.
It is 100%.
Um,
Yeah, so the Currents is really Louise's platform for writing, releasing new music. Like on that EP that I was just mentioning that he put out. Actually, it's about 3 years old. I think it came out December 2019.
oh,
Uh,
okay.
he he wrote and recorded all the parts. With the exception of one drum track, there's a song on there called "Dreamy" that our buddy Matt Howder, a mutual friend of ours, who actually played drums on my EP, which we can talk about. They were going for a certain style, and I think Matt was just kind of really good at that kind of. It's kind of like a lo-fi jazz kind of thing, and I think Louise was just like, maybe Matt could do this, and it worked out great. But yeah, so he did that little EP together. He was talking to me about making it a band and doing shows and everything. But then literally the pandemic happened. 2020, everyone was just kind of doing their own thing. But Louise and I, we were always like talking and hanging out, of course. But and then 2021 was like, well, I guess we're able to maybe kind of piece it together. And then bringing Bigfoot back to the conversation, we did an in studio acoustic show where we just did acoustic versions of our songs and a couple covers, as a way of just kind of reintroducing the band because the EP was put out and then 2020 happened. So we wanted to do something a little bit unique. We've always liked the Tiny Desk concert stuff
Mm-hmm.
or jam in the van. So we were going for something like that. Um, but yeah, and then at that point we had brought in a good buddy of ours, Matt Cashin on bass, who currently plays bass for January Man, who's a Toledo band that's been doing a lot of cool stuff lately, and I've been homies with those guys for a long time, and they've done a
What
lot of shows at
January, man? I
ICM.
am so old and out of the scene now. I don't
You're
know
good.
what's going on anymore.
A lot of new bands, man. Lot of cool stuff happening now.
See, I just feel like I don't know what's going on. January, man.
Yep.
Let me look at these people. These people. There you go, guys. That is Toledo right there, baby. That is a Toledo band right there. I love it.
You know it.
What is that? Is that like a church? I guess that is a church. I thought they were at Disneyland for a second.
I thought they were too.
That just is probably an old church on the old West End.
Right.
Uh,
Honestly, it probably is because that's where they rehearsed right around there.
yeah.
So quite possibly. But yeah, so Matt joined the band. He's been a buddy of Louise's. It's like he's been like a mutual of ours. So he came into the band, and then 2021 it was just kind of just a lot of just like kind of just learning how to be a band, and then we played our first show as a band April of 2022, so April of this year, and we brought in Emilio Alvarado, who he's been a good buddy of ours for a long time. I've known him since high school, and he actually is the owner of Treetop Audio, which is another Toledo-based recording studio, and he actually recorded that first Currents EP. So he already knew the songs, and um, he's kind of like me, where we're both primarily guitar players, but he can lay down some sick drums too.
Mm.
So with that, we filled up the lineup, and we've played about a handful of shows this year. And whether it's the Ottawa Tavern, we've done Howard's and Bowling Green. We just did the Sanctuary up in Hamtramck, just
Mm.
outside Detroit.
Okay.
Um, so we mostly a couple shows of the OT, but really just it was a good year of just like kind of figuring out how to do live shows. And what's nice is when you have new bands, it seems to kind of suck for a while. And I think musicians know what I'm talking about. Like, does the band sound good? Or what's nice is all four of us are very experienced musicians and live performers. So it came together pretty quickly, and and I guess the update on that's at the moment we're working on some new songs that hopefully to get released by like late winter, early spring. Um, Probably I imagine we'll record it with Emilio at Treetop Audio again.
Mm.
So
Is
that's
this
kind of
is this like a home studio, or how does he have this set up?
yeah. So he has it's a basement setup. He
Mm.
and that's actually I think I mentioned that's where we recorded my EP as well. So
Oh, right on.
um, and Emilio has a cool style of recording. I wouldn't say it's much different from people, but he does a great job of mixing the analog and digital worlds together.
Mm.
And I guess to be more specific, um, a lot of studios will have like they'll mic up their amps, like they'll have actual amps that are recorded, and then some people have whether it's a Kemper profiler or a Line 6 Helix where it's all just built-in stuff that goes
Yeah.
right into your DAW. What he did was as he sampled a bunch of actual live amps.
Mm.
So whether it's Marshalls, Oranges, Fenders, Voxes, you name it, he actually used his Kemper to get live samples of actual amps. So he
Mm.
mic'd them up and then made him his own plugins. So it's just a convenient way of going about things,
Yeah.
truthfully. But
No, I agree
it
with
sounds
that.
great.
I agree with that 100%. I don't give a fuck. Like you're most 99.9% of the people listening to your music are gonna be there. It's like that's a fucking amp mod. Fuck them. Like this is
Yeah,
bullshit.
right.
Like I deal with this. And like nobody's out there mad about using a fucking software. If it sounds good, it sounds good. And there is the
Hmm.
sort of the stigma in the recording world. Well, some, and I think that stigma is being left behind more and more as the newer generation comes in, and this is sort of the norm now. Whereas you have
Hmm.
people from maybe my generation and maybe even older than me that are just like, oh, you gotta mic it. There's technique. You gotta have a mic amp. You gotta have all this shit. And really, it's like I'm too lazy for that. Like when I'm writing and stuff, I want to just plug in and go. I don't want to have to set up an amp and set up the mic. And I know I sound like an
Yeah.
asshole, but like it's just what's going on, man. It's not. There's nothing wrong with it. Like I don't even have a guitar amp. I have a fucking Iridium, like a pedal. So it's just like I'm not carrying around an amp anymore. And especially for live gigs, I'm just like, I'm not doing that anymore. I'm not gonna bust my ass. And
Hmm.
another trend is, like it's smaller stuff, like smaller amps, small, like just
Yeah.
little combos, right? And you just mic that at a live show or not, because some of them can really, fucking go. Welcome back, Bon Bon. And then I don't see, I love the idea of miking stuff up, and I like the idea of analog sound, and I like the idea because my wife is the things that like the EP that my wife released was out in San Diego. The dude had like a Tascam tape reel to reel, and then so he would record everything, capture everything onto his reel to reel, and then dump it into Pro Tools. And that's beautiful, right? I love that. I love that idea. I
Hmm.
love that, it's perfect, but uh, it doesn't have to be like that all the time. It doesn't have, in fact, that's like a sound now that people seek out, right? Like, it's not even what the modern sound is right now. So there's nothing wrong with fucking amp fucking plugins. There's nothing wrong with the Iridium fucking foot pedal. There's nothing wrong with that. And so the idea that there is a stigma, and maybe even you're young enough maybe where you don't. I mean, you guys probably in your circle don't give a shit either. But like, I'm old enough to know like engineers and know, mastering houses and mixing houses where they're just like, fuck that, we just do it old school, and that's the only way to
Hmm.
do it. And like to me, that's silly. That's getting left behind, honestly, because that's not the norm, especially when you're talking about project studios or basement studios and stuff. But if you go to a place like Bigfoot, they do, you know, they have amps, they have the stuff, they have the capabilities, but he can also do other things, do the directing, you know, just go. So it's just
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
about adapting, and it's about what you want, you know, and there's no right or wrong way of doing it. It's just
Yeah,
doing it. Just do it because fucking
just do it. I mean, hey, what? Because another thing I see a lot in content in general is like in the music world, particularly with people who deal with gear a lot. So guitar players, bassists, drummers. You know, there's a thing I saw where, or you know, I've seen this kind of conversation come up a lot where we're with Facebook, with Google, there's always ads for, oh, this new pedal, this new guitar, this new amp, this new cymbal, whatever.
hmm.
So people are more obsessed with the gear than with the actual music they're playing. And we only, which I I have been at fault at. I think in 2020, this is where I was. I mean, honestly, like in 2020, I when I wasn't playing shows, as much as I was kind of figuring out new song ideas, I was kind of reassessing like a lot of my equipment. I'm like, do I need to upgrade anything? Is there anything here that I absolutely don't use, do not need, that doesn't serve anything for me? So kind of fitting. So there's a lot of fitting the herd, but also like trying a lot of different stuff. And I've bought, sold, and traded a lot of stuff in the past couple of years. Um, Broke even somehow. I don't even know how I managed that, but I've at the end of the day, I find what works for me.
Right.
Um, and at the end of the day, like whatever it takes to get the songs out of you. I don't care what instrument or what style or band you play in,
Right.
or if you're solo, whatever. Just do what you can to get the song out of you because that's what people care about. And I'm sure, Mike, you've had those moments where you're about to go to a live show, you've got a new piece of gear, you're really stoked to one, you're stoked to use it, but number two, you kind of want people to recognize it and see it. And a lot of the times, unless they're musicians who see it, like, oh, I've never seen you use that before, most people don't care. Most people don't really care what guitars, bass, and amps are using as long as you, I guess, sound good enough and can play the song. Then that's what most people generally care about. You're not gonna get a lot of like gear snobs at local venues. Maybe you will, maybe not, but so what? Ultimately, use what works for you and get the song out of you. That's what I believe in.
Yeah, yeah, oh shit. Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's like sitting there worrying about, you know, what gear has to be the perfect gear. And at a certain point, you know, like at a certain level, you can do that if you want to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's gonna cost money, you know, like it's all about money. But if you're just starting out and you're worried about like not getting the perfect amp and like I don't have the right gear and like I can't do it until, well, then I feel like you're making excuses, and I feel like you need to go back to the drawing board and figure out like, well, what can you do with what you have, or what can you do
Exactly.
with what you can afford. And I think that's the most important thing, because do you guys, what was that guy's name? Oh fuck, the guy who was like he had like a song called Fireflies, like a million fireflies.
Oh, Owl City.
Yes, Owl City. Like this motherfucker was just on Reason in his basement, right? Like a couple
Yeah,
$100 program on his, you know, shitty computer, and he made, you know, he killed it. At the time, he fucking murdered the game, and that's like now that's like that's how most people do it. Even like EDM DJs and stuff, like they're just in their fucking basement on their computer. And as they get more money, you do get to see like them building out their synth racks and shit like that. But at the
hmm,
beginning, it's just like do what you got to do with what you got, because waiting around is just wasting time. You're and making excuses. It's like if you're gonna do it, do it. Sellouts.
no,
They're not
I
sellouts.
agree. No, I agree in the sense of like, um, you know, there just because you can have all that gear
Hmm.
and you can doesn't mean you should. Um,
Right.
I'll man the I've done a lot of shows at Frankie's throughout the years,
Mm.
and I used to play in this metal band. And this is no hate towards anyone. It's just I specific things that I saw where I'm just like, it it was just like I'll put myself in their shoes. I'd be like, that'd be such a burden. And a more example is like going to a place like Frankie's, which if you're in Toledo, you know what I'm saying,
Yeah.
where it's not a big space. You're kind of playing in the box, so there's only so much room for people. And I've actually had my entire band up on there somehow, but
Oh,
we
that's
did
nice.
it. But besides the point, I have gone to shows at Frankie's or played shows at Frankie's. Um, I'll throw in OT as well because like size wise, there's similarities where you got half stacks and you got full stacks of amplifiers. Some of these guys have rack mounts, and then the drummers. Holy shit! There's this one band. There's this one band that had the two kick drums to get the double bass thing going, but then but I'm like, instead of getting a double pedal, there's like, fuck, I'll get the double drums
Yeah, fuck
itself.
it.
But then they'll have those Gibraltar racks
Yeah.
that wrap around the kit, and then for the toms and cymbals. And I think that's sweet. I'm not saying it's a bad thing.
No.
I'm just saying when you're playing a small venue like that, and then you only have 15 minutes to get on and off stage. Like, don't tell me that's not a pain.
Right.
So that's why. For my particular rig is pretty humble, and it's like a 1, 2, 3 punch. It's just a guitar, pedal board, into a combo amp. Specifically a Fender guitar or a Fender amp, which I'm currently using the Fender Hot Rod Deluxe, the George Benson signature model.
Ooh, getting sexy, breezing, baby.
Love it. Probably the big difference between that and a regular Hot Rod is it's an upgraded speaker, and it uses kind of a different tube for more headroom, and it has the overdrive channel, which a lot of the Hot Rod lines kind of hit or miss if it's stock, but on that one it's a lot better. I just run it clean, but it's just nice to have it when I need to. And then
a little kick going.
Exactly. And then I got my pedals, which I particularly use the Friedman BEOD Deluxe, which is just like I got like 2 Marshalls in a box ready to go when I need to.
Oh, that's
and
dope.
Then
what's it called?
Yeah, and then,
this is what he's talking about. Like, imagine being in a little venue and some asshole is like carrying this in, and then you're the next band, and then like 45 minutes later you get to come up. But what was that pedal you just said?
Yep. So the company is Friedman, FRIEDMAN.
And then what was the name of the pedal?
It's the BE Deluxe. B is in boy, E is in elephant.
BE 100 Deluxe, or just the Deluxe? Oh,
it's just the dual pedal. There's
I see.
Yep, it's modeled after the BE 100 or the BE 50
Gotcha.
amp head, but it's just a pedal version.
That's tight. So you can actually dial in. So it's probably this one, right, or something like this. Nader said all that technology and you don't have 2 drummers. SMH.
You know what? We'll tell you what, man. We'll figure it out. How about that? Well,
4 drummers.
I know a lot of drummers, so I can maybe figure something out. We did. I will say. I will say this. We at one point there was 11 guys in Icee Cream Militia.
Jesus.
But so add on a trumpet. And then add on an auxiliary percussionist. So he was doing a lot of like shakers, tambourines, bongos, even like a triangle. So, but we're back to 9 now. But it's so I guess we technically did have 2 drummers at one point.
Yeah, Naders.
So fact check next time. No,
yeah, come correct, motherfucker. Let's go.
Do your research, as they say. But yeah, and then it's just like the amp, pedal board, and then with one of my Reverend guitars, and that's my setup. It all fits in my trunk of my Kia Forte. I'm happy.
You have a hollow body, right?
Yep. It's it's right next to me. I'll grab it.
Yeah, let's see that shit. Get that sexy motherfucker out here.
So it's the Reverend Manta Ray. They currently don't make these anymore.
Exclusive.
But, I mean, I got this like 4 or 5 years ago. So it's only a single cut. Like you'll see a lot of like the Gibson ES335s will have the 2.
Right.
It's just the one. Then It's a nice looking headstock.
Yeah.
It's just a very clean. It's a very clean looking guitar.
Yeah.
Um, and it's a neck through, so it's all one
Oh,
piece.
beautiful.
And then control wise, I mean, we got just your two humbuckers, three-way switch, and then the volume tone, and then the bass contour, which is a Reverend thing. It just
Uh,
kind of it rolls off bass frequencies, but it can also be seen as like take coil splitting,
mm-hmm.
but instead of just one or the other, it's almost like a blend.
I got you.
So
That's a
I can roll off a little bit, but you can get into that P90 single coil
mm, the soap bar
territory. And
shit.
yep, and the bass contour comes stock on all Reverend
Oh.
guitars, regardless of their pickup configuration.
Yeah, and the fun thing about Reverend Guitars is that they're a Toledo company.
Yes, they are. They started in Metro Detroit in the late '90s, and then eventually moved to Livonia, and then I want to say about 2014, 2015, they kind of realized all the people working there lived either between Bedford Township and like Perrysburg,
Ah, I
so
got you.
they moved their operations to Sylvania Township actually. So actually, right down the road from where I'm at right now, kind of off Central Avenue,
Yeah,
but
it's like over by the Bob Evans, right? Kind of.
Yep. It's on the other side of the bridge. There's like a
Yeah.
gas station, or there's a speed. It's a
And there's
speedway.
like
There's a
car
Russ's Auto.
dealership or something. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a brand new car dealership. But yeah, that's where they operate out of. They make the guitars in Korea,
Hmm.
and then they're sent over to that location for quality control, and then shipped out to dealers and buyers. But no, they've it's been a nice couple of years, like really getting to know them, and I've actually became an artist of theirs this year, which has been really awesome.
What for someone to become an artist, which I guess Billy Corgan's an artist there. Look at that.
Hmm.
Of the Smashing Pumpkins. What are the type of things that comes with being an artist there, if you can say it?
Yeah, I guess I'll kind of start with like the bigger ones because like the bigger artists they have right now, just off the top of my head, you got Billy Corgan of Smashing Pumpkins fame, Reeves Gabrels, who used to play with David Bowie but now
Hmm.
plays with The Cure.
Okay.
And then there's like a whole list of other people, but those those bigger artists, which when you go on the website and you go to the artist tab, it kind
Hmm.
of highlights, quote unquote, the bigger artists that they have at the moment that typically they have signature models with, and um, they're kind of like waving the Reverend flag as they're out in like the biggest stages and the biggest places in the music industry.
Hmm.
Um, but I mean, generally speaking, you get to be on the website. Um, they're I mean, they do have customer support, but there's some artist support, which is pretty much the same. Like if one of my guitars broke for whatever reason, I'll just send it to Reverend. They would take care of it.
Hmm.
Um, there is a discount with purchasing a Reverend like directly through them.
Hmm.
Um, but I think otherwise it's like you get highlighted on their social media every once in a while, and it's just a cool roster and a community of people too. With any company that you're a part of, you usually find you know whether the people who work there, other players, enthusiasts. It's a nice group of people to be around with everyone involved in Reverend, and I think especially since moving to Toledo, starting to see a lot of other local guitar players
Hmm.
use their stuff as well.
Yeah,
So,
I know a lot of people who have reverends here in Toledo. Like
mhm,
it feels like a little bit of a hometown pride and stuff. Which yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
definitely. But it's just they make just really cool guitars. They take the take on sorry, that was kind of redundant. They take
Sorry.
vintage and classic, and then they take modern and really meld the two together into
Mm,
um because the guitar industry is, I mean, I'd argue it's saturated just because there's so many companies, there's so many of this, there's so many of that. It's just
boutique
nice when guy
brands and shit. Yeah, just
boutique brands, and you have
oh,
your legacy brands,
yeah.
which Gibson,
Gibson.
Fender,
Mm.
um, but yeah, it's just they're paving their own part of history in guitars and music, and Joe Naylor, the guy who like the brains of the operation, he's just been he's a guy I've gotten to know over the past couple of years, and he's just one, the dude's funny as fuck. Like you get him going, like it's the things he'll say just will have you rolling. But he's also just like a very just smart, intuitive guy who he just has one of those rare talents where let's say Billy Corgan for example. Billy
Mm.
Corgan's like, hey Joe, I want a guitar that does this. It kind of sounds like this. Will also allow me to do this. He'll just say it, and then Joe's like, cool, got it.
Gotcha.
And then he a lot of the times on the first try he'll get it. So yeah, it's just and then I want to give a lot of love to guys like Ken and Penny Haas for the owners, Zach Ward the head of sales, Tim, Zach Green their head of like he's their head tech there,
Mm.
Andy Clark who no longer works there, but he was the first guy I ever befriended through Reverend, and yeah, I'm just very thankful for my relationship with them, and their guitars are fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And they, like I said previously, they allow me to do what I need to do. I don't have to like. It's nice not having to like, oh, I need this guitar or I need something that does that. Where it's like, I do have four Reverends, but each has their own particular feel, their own particular sound, if you will. But so I got I got my palette, I got my colors. Let me just paint.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. You know what each one is for, and you know your own limitations, and you apply that to what you're creating, which is that's rad, man. Like, the I was actually trying to reach out to Reverend. I wanted to get some of them one of the people on the show. Because I mean, it's interesting to me. I want to hear some of this paint.
Yeah.
Should we play a song? I mean, he's asking for a song. Should we play it off your EP? What do you want to play?
Yeah. Let's play. Let's let's do Silver Screen Girl off of my EP I dropped back in August, reflecting on the future.
Ah, fuck, shut up. Not you. Okay. So, I have you on a playlist, everybody. Now you guys know what I do. I have playlists. Okay, so what was it called? This is off of Reflective Future. Silver
Silver
Screen?
Screen Girl.
All right.
And it real quick,
Sure.
the whole EP it's collaborative, but on this particular song, I had different musicians on each song, but on this one I have Zach Jacobs, owner of the Iowa Tavern, on lead vocals. Myself on I do most of I do all the rhythm and most of the lead guitar playing. My buddy Luis Gomez, who is in the Currents, he played bass. Matt Howder, who I talked about earlier, he's on drums. My buddy Greg Pontash, he came in towards the end with that first really sick guitar solo you hear. And then I have a couple buddies, Reed and Brian. They don't do it anymore, but they call themselves the Favor Fellas. Just as much as it was a little comedy troupe, they were also just guys really, hey, if you need help with anything, let us know. But they've helped people move. They've helped people do this and that. But they helped me add some claps that you'll hear on the second chorus.
Okay.
So,
all right.
A lot of people have played, but we came together and put something really cool together. But yeah, this is Silver Screen Girl off of Reflecting on the Future, available on all streaming platforms.
Hell yeah! I'm gonna drop that link in the show notes, and I'm gonna go pee while we listen, guys. So, Tanner, you're gonna be on screen, so you vamp for us. You know what, Tanner? Because this is going on the audio side. Will you just mute your mic too?
Yep.
Just so we get a clean sound. All right, guys, enjoy this. I'm gonna go pee. I've heard the album a few times, so I'm not. Pee time. I'm not trying to dip out on everybody, but I have to piss so bad I can, taste it. So here we go. Oh shit! I think I'm already fucking it up. All right, hold on. Oh god damn it! Sorry. Okay, editing.
Larger than life, washed in the light of 1,000 nights staring back at you. but still it's fun to pretend that you're my silver screen girl. Maybe the damsel, but I'm in distress from going through this life unimpressed. No others can shine like the fire I've let consume all of me when you walked on that set. You're losing focus, I'm losing hope that the picture will ever be clear as the day. You lit up the screen and made a man out of me, and now the image is fading away. You used to fill up my screen, but now you fill up my dreams. Oh, my silver screen girl, living life through the lens, but still it's fun to pretend that you're my silver screen girl. You used to fill up my screen, but now you fill up my dreams. Oh, my silver screen girl, living life through the lens, but still it's fun to pretend that you're my silver screen girl. Oh, 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 my silver screen girl.
And there it
They
is.
say,
right into Icee Cream Militia. Yeah, man, that's fucking rocking, man. And you
Thank
said
you.
that solo is your boy. That's not you.
So the first half of it's my boy Greg Pontash. Excuse me, Dr. Greg Pontash. He's for real doctor. He's out in Pittsburgh now, but
Oh.
he did the first solo that's very just like the super shreddy one, and then
Okay.
I kind of came in, and then I came in halfway through with that like da 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 da.
Yeah, and the thirds and stuff.
Yep. So that was my solo, and then it was I kind of wanted something that rocked, but also something that was funky, and it just kind of ended up being Silver Screen Girl. And Silver Screen Girl, what that's a song's about, and I kind of told the idea to Zach, and then Zach came up with the lyrics. Just imagine, you're 10, 11, 12 years old, and you're kind of hitting that pubescent age, and you kind of start getting your first like celebrity crush, or like someone from a movie, whether it's an actor or an actress that like you kind of fall in love with only because you love their content or you think they're attractive.
Well, who was yours? Who was yours?
It was between Emma Watson from the Harry Potter series, and then Megan Fox, Transformers Megan Fox specifically.
Not fucking MGK Megan Fox, not drinking blood Megan Fox.
Maybe not. That's all. But it is what it is, though.
Oh no.
She also killed it. She also killed it in Jennifer's Body too. That was a very underrated movie from the late 2000s that she was in. But those are mine.
What the sucks about that is that she was beautiful, and then she started like getting all this plastic surgery and stuff, and now I mean she's still a beautiful woman, but I feel like she's just gotten so plastic and like I mean honestly I don't care if she's drinking blood or whatever, who cares, that right. Don't matter to me. I mean it makes it kind of sexier honestly, but it's like but it's not But I just hate it when they put that shit in their face. And Naders wants to know if there's any vinyl of that, because he would rock it.
You know what? I'll figure that out. It's just it's just a 4-song EP that I put
Yeah.
out just to I kind of put that out just to. I mean, I guess there's a couple things. I had these song ideas that were just existed as voice memos in my phone, and um, I liked what they were going for. But the thing was, I didn't feel like any of those songs that are on that EP would fit in any of the bands I'm in.
Mm.
So, and I'm not really a singer, and like I'm an okay drummer. But I knew if I gave someone else the drumsticks, like hey, that they would do a way better job than me
Yeah.
with these particular songs. Particularly my buddy Matt who killed it, but it was just songs that I wanted to get out there in some way, shape, or form. That I was like, well, let me do it on my own. But I've always wanted to collaborate with a lot of like my favorite musicians who end up being my friends like throughout the years. Like some of them went to high school with, college with, or just people I've gotten to know throughout the years. And I like to take the time to kind of highlight some these people. But um, a lot of it's just like doing some songs with friends I've never done music before with, and
Mm.
um, it was just a really great opportunity to do that. So I guess I'll go song by song in a way.
Sure.
The first song off of it is Arbor, which is Megan Leonard on vocals, myself on guitar and bass, and Matt Howder on drums.
Can
That
I
was a
just? Oh, I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but
Yeah, you're
like,
good.
but
You're
I
good.
have to say, like, the first song on this looks like this album cover. And then
Yeah.
the rest is like, because honestly this looks like it's gonna be like an acoustic, just like very raw and very natural thing, just because I see the thing. And then all of a sudden I didn't expect, the first time I listened to it, I didn't expect you to fucking start rocking out, which I'm not trying to criticize you in a bad way at all.
No, you're
I
good.
just had no idea. And like the first song matches the vibe. You got country vibes, Naders. But like there's no wrong way to do it. I just how he lost
Yeah.
his dog in an X. He's just looking over the pond. Damn it!
Man.
Shouldn't have drank too much.
Well, I can talk about that though.
Sure.
So, where I took the picture at, it's at Olander Park, which is in Sylvania.
Mm.
Again, suburb of Toledo.
Hey.
That's where Megan and I grew up. Megan, who sang on the song, and she actually wrote the song, but she lives in Montana. So how we made it work was, she's like, hey, here are the chords, here's this and that. And then Matt and I tracked it in Toledo, and then she, recorded her vocals out in Montana, and then with the magic of file sharing, we put that together. But the reason I chose Olander Park for that one, like, the scenery was perfect, and all that picture was me from my iPhone. I just propped it up on a bench. I took that picture of me with like the 10-second timer, so I like set it up, ran to that spot, and then did it. And then my boy Dave Ludwig, big shout out to him. He took the raw photo and just cleaned it up and made it the version that we all see.
Yeah.
Now, but
Wow,
I chose Olander because it's always a place I've gone to. I just have a lot of memories of like hanging out there. Like my family, we'd go there like just go to the park or swim there, or they have like open pavilions. So I've been to a ton of grad parties there, or just like summer cookouts, and
Yeah,
that's
hell
also
yeah.
been it's also been a nice place. Just kind of like, I mean, as basic as it sounds, just like to go somewhere outside, sit on a bench. You got nature. You have the water in front of you, and it just something about that just kind of allows you to kind of just bring your thoughts out, and that's what I thought about that place. And so that's why I picked Olander. And the reason I titled it "Reflecting on the Future" was the recording started during 2020 when all of 2020 was happening.
Yeah.
And I was personally getting really bogged down with just what was going on in the world, and it sucked, and it still kind of sucks. But so the reason I say reflecting on the future was my way, because to sum up all my thoughts, I was just like, man, can we just move forward to a point in time where things are a bit normal, people are nicer to each other, and just kind of like looking at for better days ahead. So that's the meaning behind the title. And again, I chose that because I was working on this EP throughout. We started recording August or September of 2020. Um, and then I put it out August 2022. Just life happened. I had a couple job transitions, and um, but I didn't have a timetable when I just wanted it out, but I didn't necessarily have like a deadline. And no one should ever have a deadline with music, because it kind of takes away the creativity, and sometimes the product ends up sucking because you're trying to rush it.
Yeah.
So we just took our time with it as best as we could, and
No, it's
did
cool, man.
that.
It's dope, man. Like fucking more power to you. Like I really,
Thank you.
you went out and did it. Like how many people are just sitting around like, man, I want to record, I want to do this, and they talk about it and they talk about it. From
Yeah.
as they say in Game of Thrones, words are wind, son. So fucking the fact that you actually went out and did it and fucking put it out there, you did it yourself. You had the people, you put it, like
Yeah.
kudos, man. It's not easy, especially when you're
It's
talking about like a full on like band, drums, all that shit. Like me, I put out an EP. Like I could just fucking, I do it all on my laptop. I don't give a fuck. And if I do need something to do, which I really like that you like, your limitations and you'll shop out a drummer, right? Like I could play drums, I could do the drums, but is it gonna be what I want? And it's same with me. It's like I can do the
exactly.
guitar solos, but I want a cock rock solo, so I'm gonna reach out to my homie Justin. So it's just it's all about taste and putting it together and fucking
Hmm.
and that tenacity of getting it out, and you did it. So okay, so Megan Leonard is on the first one. Her very lovely voice.
Yep, absolutely. Shout out to her. The song Sheldon is just like it was kind of like a last minute filler song, but we just kind of made it like the root of it is just a rock instrumental, of just featuring just guitar soloing. So it's actually, and I also want to showcase Emilio Alvarado, who he's the guy we recorded the EP with at Treetop Audio in Toledo.
Hmm.
He's a great guitar player himself. I wanted to showcase that. So the song Sheldon is really just back and forth guitar soloing. It starts with him. He'll go for 16 bars, and then it's myself, and then we go back and forth. The name Sheldon, as dumb as it sounds, it's what my turtle's called. That's my turtle's name, and that's just what I felt like to call the song. But then,
Beautiful.
you got Matt Howder also on drums. He plays drums on the whole EP.
Yeah, he
Um,
kills it.
then the next, thank you. And then the next song, Never Wanted This, is definitely the darkest song on the track, and I wanted um more of a, I guess Black Sabbath is a very important band to me when I first started getting into music, because my parents were 70s kids and all the 70s classic rock you can name
Hell
of,
yeah.
but Black Sabbath is very, very up there for me. I kind of wanted
Mm.
a modern take on it, I suppose, but um, you got Tony Salazar on vocals, who um, the dude is such a professional. He didn't take for him long to record it, and um, it's criminal if like people haven't heard him sing. This dude's awesome. And then you have myself on guitar and bass, and then Matt on drums, and then Luis Gomez, who he was also again, if I mentioned it prior, he's in the Currents, and he's just a really good buddy, and like we've collaborated a lot of other musical stuff together. But him and I co-wrote the lyrics together, so that's how Never Wanted This came to be. And then of course we just talked about Silver Screen Girl. We just checked it out, which is more of the upbeat but rockin' funk kind of thing I was going for. And but yeah, it was just a really cool project to do. It was just everyone was so just the thing all across the board. Everyone was very helpful and wanted to help where they could, and really wanted to gave their best performances. And like I was like, as much as this is mine, this is like is a collaborative. Like I can't take full credit. I did come up with like the root of these songs and probably came up with like the core of the arrangements, but like it was really bringing all these other people together is what made the song special. And especially Reed and Brian for adding those claps in the second chorus of uh Silver Screen Girl. I couldn't have done that without them.
Yeah, you need those. Oh shit, we need those. You need those in studio claps, baby. Well,
You do.
fucking Tanner, I appreciate you coming back on the show, my man. Like, I really do.
Thank you.
And you know, you get whenever you guys got something coming out, let me know, and fuck it, we'll get you back up in this bitch. So, is there any parting words you'd like to leave us with on this wonderful Monday evening?
Yeah. Actually, a couple, if you don't mind.
Please go ahead.
Number one, man. Thank you so much for having me,
Oh, no
and
worries.
to everybody in the chat. I can't see it on my end, but thank you for everyone who tuned in, chimed in. If you feel like reaching out to me, I'm sure Mike has my
Yep.
info link somewhere.
Just drop the link in the chat, and then also
yeah.
if you're listening, go ahead and go into the show notes and get y'all follow your boy
Thank
here.
you. But yeah, feel free to reach out. Would love to, if you're in the area, come out to a show. Yeah, just I try and interact with everybody as much as I can, and you know, I always see celebrities like, no, I'm not taking a picture. As much as I respect that, it's like, you know, these people just appreciate your art, and I want to show people that I appreciate them appreciating. And I mean, I'm just a nobody from Toledo, but I mean, I appreciate anybody who's at least checked this out, and I appreciate you for having me here. And the last thing I kind of leave off with, I wanted to make sure I said it was, I actually owe you a lot for my current job, and I'd like to explain that.
Oh, please do.
So summer 2019, I graduated from college. I was really struggling to find a job in my field. But then I realized I want to do something in music. I do want to perform, but I feel like doing something on more of the business side or a different side of music aside from performing, writing, and recording would be my benefit. And you had on the guys in Rover, Dean and Matt, back in 2019.
Yeah.
And you were talking about talking about the band, but you're also talking about their jobs. Dean talked about how he's a publicist, and then not long after I listened to that episode, I listened to our buddy Chris Peapod Daher's show on the Radar, and he had on the Paco's Desperate guys on there, and they talked about that at the moment, or at the time, there was such a lack of publicist and managerial representation. So I kind of just like, after listening to those two episodes within probably within a couple of days of each other, it just kind of like lit the light bulb. And I was like, oh, let me look into being a music publicist. That's an interesting field. And then, long story short, that was long, but the short of it now is I reached out to Dean. Told him I was interested in doing this. I want to do it the right way. And now I've been working with him and Lil Star for almost 3 years now. This has been my full-time job since May. So whether you directly knew it or not, thank you for that, because it really changed my life. And it I guess I kind of came up with the own saying, but if you can't find an opportunity, create one. And all I did was just reach out to Dean. The worst he would have said was like, no.
Right.
But he took me under his wing. We would meet up, and like, he would show me like, almost like an apprenticeship, if you will, but not really. Just like, hey, here's a job. Here's how I do it. And I think I've been a nice part of the company ever since. So
man.
So I thank whether you knew that or not, man, thank you so much for having those guys on at the right place at the right time.
Hey man, well, I'm glad that the show inspired some people, because we do talk a lot of shit here, but at the end of the day, this show is made for musicians and how to further their lives and further their careers in music. So I appreciate that very much. That makes me feel great, and thank you so much, man.
Man.
Fucking TannerWertz, everybody. Make sure you go and follow him. Make sure you're hitting those links. And everybody, put your hands together for my boy here, TannerWertz. Let's go, Tanner. Thank you so much, buddy. I'll see you next time, my friend.
Thanks, everyone.
Peace out, friend.